Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Shara Jiroka Kasain. I am from Group 10. My report today is all about land ownership in the Philippines under the American. Land reform in the Philippines. Land reform in the Philippines has long been a continuous issue rooted in the Philippines' Spanish colonial period. Some efforts began during the American colonial period with renewed efforts during the Commonwealth following independence, during martial law, and especially following the People Power Revolution in 1986. The current law, which is the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, was passed following the revolution and recently extended until 2014. Ang tinatawag na land reform in the Philippines is yung issue ng land sa Pilipinas ay matagal na, noong pang Spanish colonial period pa. Pero nag-start yung issue ng land sa Pilipinas during the American colonial period. During the Commonwealth and then the independence, kasama dito yung martial law, and pagkatapos ng People's Power Revolution in 1986 or EDSA Revolution in the year of President Ferdinand Marcos. The current law, ito yung ito yung batas na Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program. Napas ito noong kasagsagan ng revolution, the administration of Marcos, and recently na-extend ito until 2014. American period. During the American period, the United States of America took possession of the Philippines following the Spanish-American War in 1898, and after putting down the subsequent rebellion in the Philippines-American War. The Second Philippine Commission, or the Taft Commission, viewed economic development as one of its top three goals. In 1901, 93% of the island's land area was held by the government, and William Howard Taft, Governor-General of the Philippines, argued for a liberal policy so that a good portion could be sold off to American investors. It means Americans observe how land ownership is important in the Philippines, as it is the main source of livelihood in the Philippines. In the 1901, 93% of all lands in the Philippines were public lands. Since the country is under the colony of the Americans, these lands become legal property of the colonial government. Also, in the 1903, the Public Lands Act allowed the Taft Commission to allow people to live on the public lands for only 20 pesos, Philippine peso. Taft Commission had an agreement with Rome to buy the lands from the church and make the friars live in the Philippines, as they saw the benefit of buying these lands. Rome agreed, but it was not easy to make the friars live. Also in 1907, at the price of 14.5 million pesos, the American government bought the Friar Island 155,000 hectares, after which they sold the lands to rich Filipino at 16 million pesos. In the year 1907, pinili ng mga American government yung Friar Island, yung Friar lands. na nagkakalagang 14.5 million pesos. After nila mabili yun, binenta naman ulit nung American yung land sa mga mayayamang Filipino sa nagkakalagang matapos bilhin ng Amerika yung land ng mga friars, yung mga priest ng church, is binenta naman nila ulit ito. Yung lupa, binenta naman nila ulit sa mga mayayamang Pilipino na sa halagang 16,000 pesos. However, the American colonists were still not able to solve the problem of the Filipinos regarding land. In fact, only those Filipinos who are well off in big operation were able to benefit and afford to own parcel of land. Hindi lahat ng Filipinos is nakaka-afford o na-afford nila yung pagbibili ng mga land. Ang nakaka-afford lang ng mga bumibili ng lupa is yung mga mayayaman. Sila lang yung may kakayahang bumili at ipagbili yung mga lupa nila sa iba't iba. Mapa-American man o ibang tao, ibang bansa, as long as they own that particular land. Marcos administration. During this Marcos administration, on September 10, 1971, President Ferdinand E. Marcos signed the Code of Agrarian Reform of the Philippines into law, which established the Department of Agrarian Reform, effectively replacing the Land Authority. In 1978, the DAR was renamed the Ministry of Agrarian Reform. During the administration of Marcos, si President Ferdinand Marcos is nilagdaan niya yung Code ng Agrarian Reform of the Philippines at ginawa niya itong batas para itayo yung Department of Agrarian Reform. At pinalitan nila yung Land Authority, yung batas before the new law. And also in 1978, the DAR was renamed the Ministry of Agrarian Reform. Pati din yung DAR is pinalitan din nila yung pangalan at ginawang Ministry of Agrarian Reform. In 1988, under the 1987 Constitution framework, which was signed by then President Cory Aquino, the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law created the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, which is also known as CARP. Ito na yung kay President Cory Aquino. Si President Cory Aquino is nilagdaan niya yung Comprehensive Reform or Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law na ginawa niyang Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program, which is also known as CARB. During the Marcos administration, the main highlight of land reform program of President Marcos is meron si President Ferdinand Marcos. Si President Ferdinand Marcos is yung main highlight niya sa paggawa ng land reform program is meron siyang Presidential Decree number 27. Itong decree na to is naglalaman is kinukuha nila yung rice at corn or mais na lupa na over 7 hectares yung lawak at binibigyan nila ito sa mga qualified tenants or yung mga qualified na beneficiaries na magiging bagong owner ng lupang yun. But Some or some or many landowners were not paid because of martial law. Ibig sabihin, may mga marami sa mga uh, may-ari ng lupa is hindi nababayaran dahil kasagsagan ito ng martial law during that time. On July 26, 1987, following the People Power Revolution, the department was reorganized through Executive Order number 129A. Ito na yung kanina, yung Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program or yung the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform of the Philippines or the Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program na nilagdaan ni President Marcos na maging batas. The Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program is the current law under which land reform is conducted. Ibig sabihin, magiging batas lamang itong comprehensive law kapag yung land reform is nakakandak or nagkakandak sila. Large land holdings are broken up and distributed to farmers and workers on that particular hacienda. The crops grown on such haciendas include sugar and rice. Each farmer is given a certificate of land ownership award or CLOA for the new property. Iba't ibang farmer is each farmer o yung isa-isang farmer na nagtatrabaho doon sa lupa na binigay ni President Marcos, yung may Presidential Decree number 27, is ito na yung dito nila binibigay sa mga farmer na qualified. At binibigyan pa nila ito ng Certificate of Land Ownership Award para may patunay sila na sa kanila na yung lupa. Under the law, a landowner can only retain 5 hectares regardless of the size of the hacienda. Ibig sabihin, lahat ng nabigyan ng lupa na yon is makukuha lamang nila yung 5 hectare na lawak ng lupa. Depende na yun sa size ng hacienda. Kung malawak, di ko rin alam kung ano yung ilan yung makukuha. Pero kapag mababa, yung hindi masyadong malaki yung hacienda, 5 hectares lang yung makukuha nila. But each farmer or the previous owner and the beneficiaries conflict can arise between them. It's because of magkakaroon ng conflict o hindi pagkakaintindihan dahil sa batas na yon. In December 2008, CARP expired and the following year, CARPER was passed. CARPER stands for Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program Extension with Reforms. CARPER also expired in 2014. Yung taong 2008, December, is yung CARP is nag-expire na. Yung Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program na tinatag ni President Marcos. Then the following year, may bago na naman silang pinasang CARP na tinatawag na CARPER. Yung CARPER stand for Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program Extension with Reforms. Also, in that year, particular year in 2014, CARPER was expired. The program or the Comprehensive Agrarian Land Reform Program or CARP was created to end unfair land ownership practice by dividing up the land and providing proper documentation to its rightful owners or agricultural reform beneficiaries. Sabihin, ginawa itong programa na ito para mag-end or mawakasan yung unfair land ownership. Kasi sa panahon ngayon, yung ibang nagmamay-ari ng lupa kahit hindi sa kanila, sinasabing sa kanila. At yung nagmamay-ari naman ng lupa, hindi nila nakukuha yung kanilang land kasi wala silang proper documentaries. So, to end that unfair land ownership, ginawa nila itong program para mawakasan yung unfair land ownership at ma-divide ng tama at ma-provide nila ng tama at mabigyan sila ng documentaries para mapasa kanila yung totoong sa kanila. Mabigay sa totoong may-ari ang lupa. Thank you po and masalam.